Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another rebuild on a Sunday, and today we are heading to France for a highly anticipated one as we rebuild Saint Etienne. Hence the green in the background. Saint Etienne were relegated from France's top flight last season, and they find themselves in Ligue 2 for the season. Now, this almost was worse, as they almost got put down 2 divisions because of financial mismanagement. However, luckily, the 10-time winners of the French First Division are in the second tier. If we dive in, you can see some of their accomplishments here. Obviously, they are 10-time winners of the league title, obviously the most recent one in 1981. So we've got some work to do, especially because PSG gone PSG, aren't they? They are 6-time winners of the Coupe de France, the Coupe de la Ligue, which is, I assume, the League Cup is non-existent anymore, but they have won that. They are 3-time winners of the Ligue 2 title, and hopefully we can add that to our trophy cabinet, because we do start ourselves in Ligue 2. There are some interesting teams in here that you guys would have heard of. Obviously, the ones that I will touch on is 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪, Bordeaux obviously are down here as well. Metz, another interesting one. Sochaux is another interesting one. Le Havre, fantastic academy there. Paris FC. There's quite a lot of teams here. And some of these teams I actually have a real knowledge for, because in my Twitch save, I have been doing a save with FC Versailles. They start in the 3rd tier, this one in the 2nd tier. If you do want to see some more of that, we are absolutely bossing it over on Twitch, twitch.tv/HoodGamingUK. Come on over, drop me a follow, and you can watch some of that action live. But obviously we are going to be trying to do our best with Saint Etienne. You can already see, though, I start at the bottom of the league, despite not playing a game of football yet, because we've been deducted 3 points already for crowd disorder. So we're already starting at a disadvantage. If you look at the club vision, though, they do want us to finish in the top 3 places in the league. They don't really care about the cup, which I'm all right with. They don't really care about the cup, but the promotion is what is required, because the top 2 go up. I want to finish inside that top 2. Relegation's not an option. We've got a relatively decent squad, and let's talk about the tactic that we are going to be using. We are going to be using 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪's fantastic 4-4-2. I will leave it down, link down below, and I know what you guys are saying. Steve, you always use these overpowered tactics. Yes, I know, it's a bit of cross promotion, guys. These videos are on the channel as well. I just want to shine a bit of light and show you guys how good these are over the course of 5 seasons. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how we're looking for this first season. Although we've got, actually, if you look at things, 3 of our starting 11, if we picked our best players, they're not at the club. They are all out on loan. So let's just quick pick a team that can actually play for us. It's an okay squad. I think we're actually predicted to finish quite high up in Ligue 2. Let's actually have a look at the season preview. We are predicted to finish in 3rd. 3rd best team behind Bordeaux and Metz. Let's see what we can do. You will find some interesting names in here. Like, I believe that's 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪 of former Chelsea fame. It is. So, yeah, some very interesting players in this division. Let's see what we can do for season number 1 with Saint Etienne. Okay, guys, so before we dive into the results of season number 1, I need you guys to let me know if you are enjoying the content, enjoying the rebuilds on the channel, and you do that by hitting that like button down below, just to let me know that you're enjoying today's video. Let's dive in to see then how we got on. We did manage to win the league, and we did manage to get ourselves promoted. We finished on 77 points with the 3-point deduction, which I actually ultimately think is a very, very good run. We win the league by 5 points, which is fantastic. Le Havre also promoted with us as well, so that is a big yikes for Bordeaux, who were down in 8th. We got to the 9th round of the Coupe de France. I believe we started in the 9th round, but we took on Montpellier and we lost. It is what it is. The main goal was to get ourselves promoted. I need to talk about this guy, goal scoring Supremo, but he is 34 years of age, this guy. I feel like I'm going to need to replace him. He scored a lot for us in the 2nd tier. I don't think he's going to cut it in Ligue 1, and he's definitely not going to cut it, because I've just clocked he is retiring. So we are going to need to replace our star goal scoring striker, which should be interesting, because Saint Etienne have given me an absolute mountain of cash, 17.5 million to spend. That feels like a lot. I'm going to see what I can do, and let's jump in to season number 2. Right, guys, it is transfer update for season number 2. We needed to strengthen to get back into the French top flight, and I think I've done a pretty good job of it. Starting things off, let's talk about some of the outgoings. This guy is one of the main outgoings. 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪𝙩 is how I'm going to say this guy's name. he's not good enough to play for us, to be honest. So he has gone over to Troyes. We've had another couple of players leave on bigger money. Mofek is a guy who's gone to Norwich. He is a defensive midfielder. We're not playing a defensive midfielder in this particular instance, so he has gone over to Norwich in England, obviously. And then we've sold this guy as well. Mady Kamara has gone over to Gladbach. Because there's a couple of other players that I would like to try and squeeze in here. He went over to Gladbach for 2 million. He was out on loan last season in Ligue, and we just decided to cash in just to give us just that little bit more money to spend, and spend we did. Christopher Lund was the first player to come in. He is a left back, ladies and gentlemen. He looks really nice. I'm quite happy with, let's expand him a bit more. He's a left back. I'm really happy with how he's come in. He is a nice improvement for us, and I think he will go on to be a very, very good player for us. Then we also signed this guy as well, Alex Carrera. He again looks very good. Really happy with his progress. Will be a nice central midfielder for us. 16 passing on the guy. Really, really happy to get a player of this sort of caliber in. He was a former Tenerife player. We paid £2.7 million for him, but he is French. Comes back to play in the French league for the first time. Former Barcelona. Sorry, he's not a French player. He's a Spanish player coming to France for the first time. Can't talk. Mohamed Kaba is another player who does come in, a defensive midfielder or central midfielder. He comes in from another team in France. Again, looks super well rounded, 6'1", big lad to be a big body in that central midfield spot. £2.9 million we paid for him. He was a good player in our division last year, averaged over a 7, so good to bring him in. This is the player that I was talking about being in Spain, returning back to France. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, as I believe how you say that. In the first season, he's out on loan at Real Oviedo. He is a Valencia player. He is now coming to be our main central midfielder. I think he's a nice player. He has a high potential, so hopefully he can go into the game and be very good for us. Didn't play at all last year at Oviedo. Good use of a loan there. We paid £4.8 million for him, former Lens player, which is very interesting. We also signed this guy, Victor Pastrana. He comes in to play on either wing, actually. He can play as a natural, or accomplished, sorry, in both the left and the right midfield spots, which is where we are going to be looking at playing him. Nice and quick, 15 acceleration, 16 agility. He's good on both flanks. Again, a little bit of versatility to come in and help us on the wings. Now, this is where I spent some big money, guys. We brought in Karim Kanate. He is at RB Salzburg, and I'm hoping this is going to be my gem. He's either going to be fantastic for me and stay here the rest of the save, or he's going to be that damn good for me, I'm going to sell him for massive money a few years down the line. He comes in, he's got 14 finishing, nice high bravery, nice mentals already for someone 19, 5 caps for the Ivory Coast already. I paid £7.5 million for him. He only played once for RB Salzburg in Austria last season. I thought it's a good time to bring in the former Ivory Coast player, another wonder kid of years gone by that have ended up transferring to a club, and hopefully I can rewrite his career and get him back on and playing some football. And to play alongside him, I signed this guy. We needed to replace our strikers. I went out and signed this guy, Thiago Thomas. He comes in from Sporting. A very good forward in this year's game. Big fan of him. Nice flair as well, nice bravery. I want my strikers to be nice and brave and powerful and physical as well. He's 21 years of age, so again, a player that could go on to do good things. He played a full season in the Bundesliga last year, scored 11 goals, which isn't actually too bad when you look at he had 22 starts and 10 sub appearances. So I actually think that goal return is pretty good on loan from Sporting. We paid £3.5 million for him to become a Saint Etienne player. So we've had a lot of movement. These are the two players I'm going to pin into their positions. I want Karim Kanate to play every single game. Same with 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, because if we quick pick without restriction, guys, our best 11, those two do not get in, which is really annoying. So I want to make sure that they do stay. Obviously, we're back in the French top flight now. We are in 8th, no points deduction this season, which is fantastic. If we take a look at the season preview, though, obviously Kylian Mbappe still doing his business here. We are predicted to finish in 15th, guys. We are not the best team in the division. We are not the worst team in the division. But the Media Dream 11 is all PSG players. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do in season number 2. Let's see if we can stay in the league, I think. That's the main goal for this year. So guys, season 2, our first year back in the French top flight, went really well. If you look at the table, we did finish in 6th in the end, and we do qualify for the Europa Conference League for next season. PSG win the title, but only by 2 points. Only beat Nice by 2 points. I think with a little bit more investment, I think this team can go on to do fantastic things. At the other end of the division, Angers and Le Havre got relegated. Poor them. Toulouse, I believe, won the French Cup. They did. They beat Lyon in the final. So Toulouse go into the Europa League despite finishing in 8th. Fair play to them. So it looks like PSG they're good, but they're not the normal PSG that I would expect at this particular level. So obviously we finish in 6th. Lille finished just above us, but the gaps between ourselves and the Champions League places quite significant. Thiago Thomas was our main goal scorer this year. He scored 25 goals in the league. A nice return from a first season, I would say. Looking forward to seeing what he can do as we build things up. In terms of our finances, though, we've got more money, 21 million to spend. Until I got the Tycoon Takeover with Versailles in my stream save on Twitch, I didn't have this money. So this is quite nice to see what we can do in a 4-4-2 out of all tactics. Let's see what we can do. Let's see how I can spend that money and improve this team just that little bit more. Maybe getting into a European or Champions League spot next season. So Season 3's transfer update is here, and the main outgoing that I need to talk to you about is this guy. I've sold my goalkeeper, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙤𝙕 𝙈𝙚 has gone into England. He has gone to Sheffield United. They paid £1.7 million for him, and I'm interested to see who steps into his shoes, because we do have a goalkeeper who, lovely, is called Etienne Green. He's a young English goalkeeper, and I'm hoping he can step in to take the reins. They're not actually that much different in terms of goalkeeper, so to get £1.7 million for the other one, I'm actually quite happy with. We've also been quite active in the transfer market. Sergi Canos comes in. He comes in from Rennes to play on that right-hand side. Again, he was transfer listed by request. Paid the £4.8 million for him to pick him up. Obviously, the former Brentford player. You will recognise him from the English leagues. Another player to come over from the English leagues is this guy, Jean-Paul van Hecke. Young Dutch player, big centre-back, 6'2", good jumping reach, good physicals as well, nice tackling of 17. I think he can be a massive improvement in the heart of our central defence. This is a player I've not actually heard of before. I think he looks fantastic, can play all the way up and down the left-hand side. Leonardo Lilo is how I'm going to say this guy's name. He was at Bayern Munich. He was at Bayern, but I assume looking at this, he starts at Casapia. And Bayern got him and then just didn't play him. Got him on a free. Played twice, 2 sub appearances, £6.5 million. Cheers, Bayern. I think he could be a good pickup for us on that left-hand side. Another couple of players that we need to talk about. All of these are free transfers now, though, guys. Etienne Fm23 comes in from Chelsea. Wants some starting minutes, and he will definitely get it here. The Welsh international, of course. Timothy Pembele, he comes in, former PSG youngster. Was out on loan at Bromby. Looks supremely well-rounded, actually. I'm quite happy to have him as a squad player, listed as a breakthrough prospect. I'm going to talk about one other player first. We also signed this guy, Pongriak, is how I'm going to say this guy's name. Croatian international, age 26, 6'3", kind of big centre-back. You can kind of see where I felt like we needed to improve from last season. Bigger, stronger, physical centre-backs is where I've gone, and I spent my money, and I brought this man back. Now, I thought FM would give me some nostalgia about bringing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang back to Saint Etienne. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I thought it would be like, a big name signing, nice to have him back, that sort of thing. Nothing. Nada. I think he can be a good sub for us, basically. He's got 17 off the ball. He's still not as quick as I would have liked anymore. And he is 35. He is an impact sub for us. I'm quite happy to have Aubameyang back, and that's something I never thought I would say. But as I said, impact sub, most definitely happy to have him at the club. So if we quick pick without restriction our best 11 this year, this is how we're looking. So the boys that I pinned in position, Kobalin and Konate, they are now starting for us every single game. I'm liking this team. We're very top heavy, our strikers are very good, and we're a bit fragile at the back, but I think we can do good things. If we have a look at the competitions, obviously we do have the Europa Conference League, ladies and gentlemen. We are in Europe, so European competition will be nice. Granted, it is the 3rd tier of European competition, but I'm taking it. The board expectation is mid-table in the French League, and if we have a look at the season preview, the media prediction is for us to finish in 11th now, and there is one player, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙤𝙕, who has forced his way into the media dream 11. Everything else still PSG. Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, all still here. in France, which is quite a problem for the rest of the division. Monaco are predicted to finish in second at 8-1. So that kind of goes to show the power of PSG. Let's simulate this season and see if we can crack it into the top 4. So season 3 is done and dusted, and yes, we managed to get ourselves into the top 4, just about. We get in there with 64 points, meaning we qualify for the Champions League next season, which is I'm really happy about, but we're almost 20 points behind PSG at the top of the league. So I don't know if we are going to win a title this save. I just don't think it's on the cards. We were knocked out by PSG in the semi-finals of the French Cup. They beat us on penalties, which is an absolute sickener. Loads of penalties were taken as well, and they scored all of theirs. And Maicon missed one of them for us, which is devastating in a team against PSG that is still unbelievably stacked. So League and Cup double, I assume, for PSG? No, they lost the final to Monaco. Unbloody lucky. In the Europa Conference League, we get to the quarter-finals, where we come up against Juve. Now, this Juventus team is absolutely ridiculous as well. Vlahovic, Chiesa, Bremer, they bodied us in this game, in this tie, and we lose the tie 6-1 on aggregate, which is disappointing because I really thought we might have had an opportunity to have a good run in the Europa Conference League. But the Conference League is no longer our worry. We are into the Champions League. I believe we do have to qualify, though, for the Champions League. We don't go straight into the league stage as it is now in season number 3, going into season number 4. Karim Konate, fantastic player for us. He was our top goal scorer this season, 36 goals for him. He looks great, doesn't he? Looks like a fantastic bit of business from RB Salzburg. When you get him playing, averaged a 7.42 in the league this year. 23 goals in 28 appearances for him in the league. Money-wise, for next season, we've only got 10 million to spend. Obviously, I've been spending some of this as installments to get some of the better players into this club, and it's kind of bit me on the arse, basically, going into season number 4. But we are going to have a Champions League draw. The reputation, I'm hoping, has improved a touch. If we go and have a look, it's still a national standard reputation. We've still got massive amounts of debt because we've got a really nice stadium. Yeah, still some work to do going into season number 4's transfer window. Okay, so going into season number 4, we've been pretty active again in the transfer market. First of all, as I always do, let's talk about some of our outgoings. Jean-Philippe Carrazzo has gone. He has gone in country, actually, for £2.2 million. He stays in the division, but he's not Konate. He's not Thiago Thomas. He's not going to play up top for us, so I thought I'd cash in and get some money. He wasn't overly happy with that, but Sadio Sow, another player who has gone, he has gone to Hanover in Germany. Of course, again, not at the level that I need him to be if we're going to even remotely try to challenge PSG at some stage in this save. So he has gone to Hanover for 1.4 million. And then the left back that I did sign, Christopher Lund, he has gone over to Celta Vigo. He wanted to leave as well. £3.3 million once they showed some interest in him, so he has gone over to Spain to play his football. Now let's talk about some of the players that have come in. We signed our first new gen, guys. This is Julio Cesar Maya. He comes in, a nice little right back for us. I think this is going to be our starting choice right back. He's now valued at 15.5 to 19 million pounds. Comes in from Atletico Nacional for 3 million quid towards the back end of last season. So I'm hoping he can come in and be a good player for us moving forward. Then let's talk about some of the other players. Carlos Borges comes in. Looks like a fantastic little player. Former Manchester City lad. Been out on loan at Schalke. Nice, fast, 18 pace, 17 acceleration. High dribbling as well. He's going to play in this right midfield spot there. Looking like a massive improvement for us in that position. Mason Holgate comes in on a free transfer. His contract was up at Everton. A good centre-back, can play as the right back if required, whilst not really being a good right back. Nice and consistent, nice and brave is what I need in my centre backs, and a good player for us. Giovanni Lo Celso comes in from Spurs on a free transfer as well. Nice and creative in the central midfield. Can also play actually on the left, which I've only just clocked, but looks like a good player for us again on a free transfer. He's still only 29 years of age, having had a couple of appearances for Tottenham last season. 19 appearances, mainly all substitute appearances, but averaged a good rating, 7.04 for Spurs last season. season. And then the money that I spent the guy I spent some money on, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕 𝙈𝙚, he comes in from Rennes. This guy's a stallion, and I saw that he was transfer listed, the former PSG guy, former Lens player. He was transfer listed, so I thought, yes, I'll have myself a piece of that action. 6.75 million. Rennes paid PSG 21.5 million pounds for him. We like those. We like those. They're still in the division as well. I don't understand why that happened, but 6.75 million pounds. I have 3 elite tier strikers now, or what I would call very good strikers, in Konaté, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕, and Thiago Thomas. They can fight it out between them to see who starts, because I really don't mind. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, so you can kind of see the faces in here as well. Thiago Thomas and Konaté are getting those spots at the moment. But to have a player like that ready to come in, I think is very, very good. Lilo is a really good left back for us. Van Hecke is a very good centre back for us. And Giovanni Lo Celso gives us a little bit more of an ability level in that central midfield. So I think as a 4-4-2 for this season, I think we're going to go really far. Obviously, I mentioned we do have to qualify for the Champions League. We have the league path 3rd qualifying round. We take on Rangers. I think we should win this. I'm pretty confident we should win this, but we will have to see. We enter the cup in the 9th round as always, and the board, this expectation this year, they want us to qualify for the Europa Conference League via our league placement. So if we have a look at the season preview, PSG have won the league the last 4 years now. If we have a look at things, they are still the favourites to win now, but the odds are getting slightly shorter on some of the others. We are now predicted to finish in 9th, 100-1 to win the league. Again, still don't think it's going to happen, but Messi's gone and been replaced with another Argentine. Julian Alvarez is now at PSG. He looks very good. Big fan of him in this year's game. So we've got a lot to do for season number 4. Let's see what we can do. So guys, season 4 is done and dusted, and we managed to secure ourselves another top 4 finish. We didn't really improve on last year. Last year we got 64 points. This year we got 65 points. However, we did get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Looking at things here, you can see we were knocked out by Napoli, and we were knocked out in the 10th round of the French Cup by PSG as well. PSG knocked us out relatively comprehensively in the Cup. 4-0 loss for us there. And into the quarterfinals of the Champions League, ourselves and PSG, representing France at this stage, both got eliminated. We unfortunately lost 7-2 on aggregate to Napoli. Napoli still have Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia and 𝘼𝙗𝙗. This Napoli team is still very, very good. It looks like it's not been pillaged, and if anything, they've got stronger. So you can see why they caused us some problems. Karim Konaté missing a penalty as well in the 7th minute doesn't really help. But again, I wouldn't necessarily say we are on the same sort of standing as Napoli. So I'm happy to make it all the way to the quarterfinals. I think that would be a fantastic result for Saint Etienne in real life. If we have a look at the league and expand things a little bit, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕, he is the top goal scorer in the league, outscored Mbappe. So that's going to be very interesting to see how Mbappe retorts on that next season. But we do qualify for the Champions League again on the same amount of points as Lille, but still quite a way behind PSG. If I can get us to being the 2nd best team in France for this season, I will, for the next season, I'll be very, very happy with that. Obviously, we had a run in the Champions League, which means we got some money back and the reputation boost, I would like to think. Yes, continental reputation boost now. That's very good to see. We do have an increase in transfer budget. It seems to have gone off the screen a sec. There we go. £26.4 million to spend going into our 5th and final season. Let's see if we can close this gap on PSG. Okay guys, so I went big into the 5th and final season to try and improve this team just as much as I possibly could. And we've got some interesting players to talk to you guys about. John Bernal is another new gen coming in from Colombia that I picked up. He came in the middle of last season, and we didn't pay a huge amount for him, 650k. Played a couple times for us in the league last year, all substitute appearances, but he's gone down into our 2nd team again, just to kind of be a nice little player for us. Good high potential, it looks like. So he's just into be a nice player in the squad, basically. We also signed this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗 is how I'm going to say this dude's name. He comes in from Brazil, again, can play all up and down that right-hand side. High potential ability on him as well. He's currently wanted by Cardiff on loan. I'm going to play him. He, again, 5-star potential, high value now, 22 to 26 million. We paid 13.75 for him to bring him across to Europe. Hasn't played a minute yet for anybody, so I'm hoping he comes in and plays some minutes for us this year. We also signed this guy as well, another guy from Colombia. You can see I kind of did a little bit of scouting of South America, and it worked quite nicely. 𝘼𝙗𝙗 comes in, the central midfielder, ideally predominantly around defending by the looks of him. Good high tackling, good high work rate and stuff like that. Again, some of these players just come in to be good fodder to be sold later. Basically, that's how you have to work it at some of these clubs. Valued at 55 to 65 million. I paid 1.2 million pounds for him. So yes, Wonder Kid Filter doing the business again. A player you guys would have all heard of, Georgi Mamadashvili. He is the Valencia goalkeeper at the start of a save, and he is now my goalkeeper. Etienne Green just did not cut it going into this final season, and I wanted to replace him. He comes in, 12.5 million pounds to him. He'd already moved once to Bayern Leverkusen, played the full season in the Bundesliga last year, so he's dotting around the top leagues in Europe, and I'm hoping he can have a settled space at Saint Etienne. On to the free transfers though. 𝘼𝙗𝙗 𝘼𝙗𝙗 is how I'm going to say this dude's name. So pretty well rounded, former Leicester player, former Lille player, and PSG player. I think he's great. I have no idea why he was released by Leicester, but he was on a free transfer, barely played for them last season, 8 appearances, all as a substitute. We'll have that as a free transfer, thank you very much. Another free transfer, Liam Delap is here from Manchester City, released. Again, never gets signed for Man City. So again, we've got 4 good tier strikers now. I'm really happy to push this team as far as I can get them this year. In terms of the competitions, because we did finish in 4th, we have to qualify for the league phase yet again. This time we have Genk coming out of Belgium. The board want us to get to the quarterfinals of the Coupe de France and qualify for the Europa League this year via our league placement. So we need to finish either 5th or 6th to keep the board happy. If we have a look at the season preview, we are now predicted to finish in 7th. We've halved our odds from last season. It was 100 to 1 last year. It's now 50 to 1 for us this year. But the odds are... we're shortening the odds on PSG. As I said, if I can get us to be in the 2nd best team in the league, I would be very happy with that. Mbappe's still here, and Zakaria, Dennis Zakaria from Lille, is the only non-PSG player in that media dream 11. Let's see what we can do, guys. It's our 5th and final season. Fingers crossed we can pull something out the back. Guys, what a season. I'm just going to come out with it. We won a league and cup double. PSG not at their best at all, but we have vastly improved ourselves this year. Some of the younger players that I've signed finally hitting their stride, and a league and cup double has been secured. We got to the knockout round of the Champions League as well, where we were bested by Napoli for a 2nd year in a row. This time slightly more competitive about it. We lost 5-4 on aggregate, losing 2-1 in Diego Maradona Stadium in Naples. They are still very good. They've still got the same team, basically. And Napoli, very good team. Disappointing to go out there, of course. It's the Champions League, isn't it? Let's talk Coupe de France. Coupe de France, we managed to win on penalties. We beat Lyon on penalties. Liam Delap doing an absolute madness, scoring 3 goals in that final, and then we go to penalties. He misses his penalty, but it doesn't matter because this is a huge result, as I'm sure Saint Etienne fans will agree, because their rivalry is against Lyon. So beating them in the French Cup final, I think, is pretty darn special. I'm really happy with how this season has transpired. We win the Coupe de France, and we talk about the league. We managed to win the league as well. Julian Alvarez pops off for PSG, but we beat them by 1 point at the end of the season. They had a much better goal difference than us, but I believe they flopped one of their final games. They did. They drew at home to Lille. And we continued to win, and we beat them towards the end of the season as well, and in the cup semi-final. So they went on a little bit of a wobble, but we managed to topple PSG in this, winning the league. We're the best team in France somehow. I don't understand how it's happened. We really closed that gap. We are the best team in France, and league and cup double, guys. What more can I say? What more can I say? This team is fantastic. I just want to give a couple of shout outs to some of the players. Obviously, we'll quick pick without restriction our best 11, and you can see here this guy. Now he's got a face because I'm using Zealand's new gen face pack, but this is Tom Compt. He is a young player who came through my youth intake in the first season. He's gone on and been very spectacular, actually, up and down this left hand side. Very good physically, looking exceptional. Obviously he did come through that first youth intake. He wants a new contract, which we could give him, but overall he's been fantastic throughout the course of his career here, playing all up and down that left hand side, mainly playing as a left back, Massive shout out to this guy who's come through the youth intake. I think he's very, very good. The team itself is looking fantastic. If you wanted to take over this save, you can do, as I post all these saves in my Discord. You can find a link to the Discord down below. We also have a thread there, FM23 Rebuild. You can pick up any of the rebuilds that you like. And if you want to watch any more rebuilds, you can do so by clicking on this playlist that's going to pop up right here.